Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Maybe I'm Just Not Getting It podcast. I'm your podcast host, Robert Davis. Before we start today's episode, just want to go through the regular spiel. Follow me on social media. Instagram is RTD underscore III. Facebook is Robert Trey Davis III. Um, Also, make sure you share, subscribe, like the podcast and all of that. It is on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. If there's another medium you watch your podcast through, just let me know and I'll see about getting it on there. In today's episode, I wanted to talk about something and kind of the segue to my guest here. Two of my close personal friends, Brendan and Alexis. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
And the reason I had them on, well, I guess all three of us for that matter, is that all three of us are married. And I thought that marriage and a concept would be an interesting topic for an episode because I think it's something that that holds a lot of weight, in our society. It's one, I guess, and at least in my mind, one of the most kind of significant acts or commitments that people can choose to take in their life, for better or worse, it got a level of significance that come with it. And I think people are becoming a lot more, or people come with a lot of kind of different stigmas and fears, expectations, opinions, and so on and so forth. That either make people kind of be overly eager or make them think twice about marriage, which is another reason I think, this is a pretty good topic to talk about. And I think, definitely in our society, we see many examples of kind of positive or problematic marriages. And I think a lot of times those are used as kind of measuring sticks. People kind of use them to be like, oh, like, are we healthy compared to whatever internet couple we see or whatever celebrity couple or something like that. Um, and, I think this is a good way to kind of talk about marriage in a different light of just kind of how not to call y'all regular because everybody is special, but just how
Regular.
how
Wow.
people in how people in a general sense, deal with it and experience it, I should say. And I think the other reason is because kind of like we see people get married for the wrong reasons a lot, and it's kind of important to highlight healthy reasons to get married and things to avoid or things to look at as reasons not to. So that's kind of the introduction of the gist of it. Um, and one thing I want to talk about, I guess, in terms of that, and I guess why this topic is important, and it might be weird for me from I guess, the standpoint of a lawyer, but I was always taught, kind of like marriage is too important of a decision not to take it seriously in a sense. It's like, I guess it was always told me like, oh, it's a legal contract, like you signing not half your stuff, but you're signing your life to somebody in a sense. And, it comes with ramifications and stuff like that. Um, and I guess the first question I wanted to ask in terms of it was kind of how was that in terms of a seriousness, a seriousness type of extent, how was it ever expressed to you? Or was it, from people you grew up around, parents, or whatever the case may be?
Who wants to go first?
You can go.
Me? Okay, I'll go first. I would say I witnessed good marriages and then I also witnessed marriages where people just stay together just for the sake of it. I think you just had to think the long-term effects, definitely when you have children.
Mm-hmm.
Um, should you stay together just for the sake of them, or should you have a healthy co-parenting situation? So for myself, I wanted to try my best to take it as serious as possible when I got married to make sure I was doing it for the right reason and make sure I was ready. So that's kind of my stance on it.
Okay.
Hmm.
I think I've had a mixed view of marriage. I've seen marriages that were like really good and lasted until somebody passed, and I've seen other marriages. So I never really understood. So when I first got engaged, I asked everybody I knew, "Why did you get married? How did you know? Are you sure? Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" And how
Mm-hmm.
know that? Like, what was important to you? What was the deciding factor that made you decide that this marriage was important to you? I also think that marriage can be important depending on religion or like in a business sense. So I think it depends on the person and which way you're leaning on that. Some people look at it more as a business, but other people it's more for religion. So
I think you got a good point. I think that's a good way of looking at it. It's important for a variety of different reasons, depending on who you're talking to or, who, I guess, people that are getting married. Similar to y'all, like, I've seen good ones. Marriage on, I guess, both ends of the spectrum. I've seen marriages where I was like, yeah, this is a shit show. Like, y'all really, like,
y'all just out here doing whatever.
Like, why?
yeah, dang, I done seen marriages was like, oh yeah, she get like, she getting the police called on her for beating on her husband again type stuff. And then it was marriage, it was like, it's like they were
That
like,
shit.
yeah, that's the funny part, right? Not him, but she got married. But like, yeah, I mean, I think to your point, I think it's an important decision for like, I think people oftentimes it gets beat to their head, especially men. Like, oh, it's a contract, like you're signing. But to your point, like it's a religious wise, I mean, space wise, you might just not have the personality to like people, like somebody in your personal space like that all the time, and that could be part of it as well. And like one thing that I think is interesting, and at least in my perception of it, I think we've seen a shift in kind of like the attitude towards marriage. Like, I mean, probably in the past couple years, I guess maybe just in the concept of social media, we've seen a shift. But it seems like
Yeah.
people view it more, and it could be the younger generation as well, but it seems like people view it more as like a burden than a positive.
hmm
I want to see if had y'all, and just that, like, had y'all noticed? I mean, not I would say had y'all noticed that, but in terms of it, do you think that I guess, society views it in a positive sense now, or do you think it's kind of shifting towards a negative, or is it shifting towards a positive, or is it just kind of all over
mm
the place?
I think it's all over the place. Personally, I think it's always been that way. I think social media has just made it more in our face when it
Right.
comes to relationships and marriage. But I do think people prioritize situationships over like a marriage. Because to your point, like it's a contract or it's kind of like a business, and people don't want to get locked into that. And a lot of people like to, come and go as they please. So, I do think it's just prevalent now because a lot of people do things through relationships with people on social media, which I don't like, but teach his own.
Now, that's real. That's real. Like, I think so too. I mean, I think it's kind of all over the place to your point, and like I think one of the reasons I guess in my mind I was like, oh, I've seen people kind of view it more in a negative sense is I think people always, I think it's just like kind of in the sense of social media, like negativity is what shines more than positivity. So I think people
hmm
see marriages more, or people get married for the wrong reasons more, at least in the
hmm
public eye. I mean, because like I think in the sense of like a public perception of it, healthy relationships are boring. Like in the sense of like a social media type of concept of it. Like, like nobody, it's not like click worthy type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
to a degree, because there are a lot of healthy like relationships and
But
couples.
it is boring. I don't care. I don't want to see that either. I don't care that y'all are in bed by 9 o'clock. I mean, it is boring. It is
Yeah,
boring.
it
So
is.
of course, all of the toxic stuff is going to be what comes up in the algorithm. That's what people want to see.
Yeah, you're
Right.
right. And like people get and it comes for a lot of things. It can be, like pressure to get married. Somebody like, like, oh, I felt pressure because all my friends were getting married, or I felt like I need to
Mm.
be married by such an age and blah, blah, blah. Or temporary feelings with somebody like, oh, I was so in love with this person and we jumped in to get married, and then a few years later they're like, oh, I'm like,
Yikes.
this motherfucker wasn't it. Um, like, oh, I mean, it's like finance. They say finances, and I can understand that. Like, I
Hmm.
can understand how, like, if y'all were constantly stressed about money, I can understand that being like something to
Broke
drive you.
people really mean. Me
Yeah,
too. I'm broke. So that makes sense.
Like, and then some people like, I mean, some people don't get enough attention. They marry. I mean, it's a lot of different. Or some people got married for attention. Some people got married to they can say I'm married. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so I think a lot of times people highlight a lot of the wrong reasons to get married, and that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation. Is I think it's important that I just highlight that those are reasons that I think a lot of people are saying that they want to be married, but it's not really I guess a
They don't
good
know what
reason
it
to
takes.
say. Yeah,
Well,
you
why
know,
did you get married?
why did I get married? Oh,
Mhm.
okay. I got married because I genuinely love my wife, and I feel like she makes me a better person, and I feel like it would be silly to live life without her in that sense.
Ew.
Yeah, I know that sounds weird coming from me, right?
Rude.
Mm,
That sounds
yikes.
very weird coming from me, right? Like, yeah,
But that's a sweet and honest answer.
yeah. I mean, I think I think that's another reason why a lot of people have trouble with this sort of concept is because they're not honest about it.
Can we be more honest?
Yeah.
Contract wise, you thought it was a great idea.
Oh yeah. Well, contract wise,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. No, just yeah, contract wise, I do think it was a good idea, but we have a prenup, so I mean, contract wise, like we did have that that sort
Did you
of.
make it?
I mean, actually, that was her idea.
I mean, like, did you draw it up?
Oh yeah, I drew it up.
Mm, mm. Did she have
Not
somebody look over it?
Fine print. The fine
yeah,
print.
she did. Yeah, she did actually. Yeah, she had a. That's that's a smart thing to ask. Quite honestly, yeah, she did.
Good.
But I mean,
She's
so
smart.
yeah, I guess for me, from a contract standpoint, but I mean, many men did say that to me though. Many men was like, "Hey, like, all right, you're gonna get married, that's cool, but get a prenup." Like, all right, yeah. I mean,
Mm.
I
and
go,
they all was shocked. I mean, I was like, "Oh yeah, we got one. Actually, that was our idea for us to do it." Like, really? Oh,
as
Mm.
an adult, I would, but since I got married like, as a kid, I wouldn't. I ain't had no money, so it didn't matter. But as an adult, I would definitely get it
oh
for you.
yeah. I don't even see why people take it so personally, quite frankly, because I mean, I understand
Mhm.
why. Like, I mean, you trying to, I mean, I understand why in the sense of I understand why somebody would feel like, hey, we need to both be able to protect ourselves in case, because you don't ever know what happen.
Look at
Get
Wendy
angry.
Williams,
You're
Mary J.
right.
Blige, but Kelly
Anything.
Clarkson, I think too.
hmm Like,
Mm.
yeah, Mary J. Blige, ain't she still paying that man? That man,
That's crazy.
yeah, she got to pay for that man for his lifestyle, and
That's
all
Wow.
that stuff. Like, I understand that'll make me crash out on somebody as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on
that's
now.
why she be looking so bored during the performances. She trying to pay that.
Right. Yep. She got bills to pay.
She
Mm.
out here like, man, I got to do this for the check.
Here she go.
I thought it could have. She just put the camera to. I
She
mean,
don't
she put the
care.
mic to the audience, and they were singing for like 30 seconds. She was just holding it, like, yeah.
Like this. She did not
Thank
care.
y'all. Thank y'all for singing my song. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next verse. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
and like another thing, I guess that was always, I mean, that I've seen a lot, and one thing that people kind of told me, one reason I like to have this conversation is somebody, in the sense of if anybody's watching this and they think about getting married, like one thing was always told me was like, don't put more effort into the ceremony or the thought of getting married than actually like your marriage itself or being
Mhm.
married. And I think that's like, and it's nothing wrong with having a nice wedding. Like, like that's cool. Like, I think a lot of people do put all their eggs in that basket, whether it's like financially, emotionally, stress wise, or something like that. They put it all into like the ceremony of the thought of now we're married. And it's like, yeah, now y'all got the rest of y'all lives to do this. And once that, that initial rush past, they're like, oh, well, damn, like,
Mhm. Because
and
it's not all sunshines and rainbows after that wedding day.
like, it sure ain't. It's a, it's a little bit of and it's
Mhm.
weird because like people would always talk about like things are different once you're married, and marriage is something to work on, and like marriage, it not like in a bad way, but it's like marriage is something you have to work on every day, and it's like I never really understood even till today. Like I understand what they mean by that. I never really understood what changed. Like
Mhm.
I say like what exactly changed to make it like that.
We
But like
changed.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's because it's like, yeah, I mean, because like in theory, right? Like marriage technically shouldn't, you wouldn't think would change like the dynamics of your relationship because you're still like it's the same two people. I mean, like you go through a day where it's like, oh, y'all had a day of a ceremony and that was it. But things do change, and it's like, damn, like,
Right.
I don't know, I feel like you sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. It's compromise type of thing. But like, it's like, oh well, why is that? You know, like it's weird that it does change. Like,
It's human evolution. I think everybody just goes through their own path. Some people start to get more religious as they get older. You know how that is. Some people,
Hmm.
kids can affect it, jobs, as you maybe somebody hasn't worked for like 3 years or they got di disabled or sick. I mean, there's just so many things.
yeah, you're right about that. Like, you're definitely right about that. And I guess the question I wanted to ask y'all in terms of it was one thing I think that affects that is heavy in this conversation about marriage is that I think people in all different subsections, men, women, black, white, gay, straight, all of it, they have a lot of preconceived notions about what marriage is like or what their partner should be like or what the roles in marriage should be or something like that that they come with, whether that was something they got from like their family, their parents, the religion, whatever the case may be. But one thing I want to ask in terms of that is like, I guess not what because I had that question for later in terms of what expectation y'all specifically had, but just what are the, I guess, some of the worst ones that you've heard? I mean, cause I know some people be like, okay, well, I know like men, like male wise, right? Like a lot of people sometimes are like, well, my wife should cook, clean, every day or something like that, or like, we're gonna have
Ooh,
sex
not the thumbs down. That's crazy.
Double thumbs.
so she said, no, yeah, no. Like we're gonna cook clean like every day, or like some women are like, my husband needs to pay for 100%. And I'm not trying to make it like the concept of is that right or wrong, but just in terms of it, I think sometimes, if I as a male came into a marriage and was like, I think, my wife should cook for me every day, and that's not something that I ever adequately expressed to my spouse. That shit gonna be a problem when we get married, because
Yeah.
Right.
and just in terms of it, just I wanted to ask, have there been any kind of preconceived notions you've heard from people that you were just like, yeah, you kind of tripping on this, or yeah, that's gonna be, unless you go out and find somebody, ahead of time and that you've already expressed this to and stuff like that, that's gonna be different.
Mm,
Okay. Well, I think that social
I'm
media
not
and
sure if I should
TV
answer this
provide
one
a lot
first. Go
of
ahead.
those preconceived notions,
Yeah.
S- and I think they're unrealistic. As somebody with a fully developed frontal lobe, allegedly, I can tell that, of course, these are pictures and videos. You don't know what happened behind this. We go on vacation, the pictures is cute, but we was going at it.
Like,
I mean,
hmm
so like you
Hmm.
don't know really what people have going on behind the scenes. I think that's one, too. I think communication is very important. You need to express what you expect. And if you want somebody to pay 100% of the bills, you need to find somebody who wants to pay 100% of the bills. Like,
Yeah.
let's just go ahead and knock this out right now. We don't
right,
need to talk beyond this if it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
right.
I agree with you. I mean,
I do think though, like during your dating stage, you should already have these conversations. Don't wait until you're engaged and you're like the week before, man. You're like, hey, well, I think you should stay in the house and
and then they're like, what the fuck you mean I should stay in the house? It's like, oh, well,
right, right, right.
Well, I'm about
Definitely,
to
definitely.
go.
If
So,
she's working, right, right, right. Well, it's been fun. I know it's a week before the marriage, but I got to get out of here. But those conversations should already have taken place. Probably like your first couple of weeks of dating. But I think a lot of people do wait until they are in that situation where they are finally maybe living together, and they're like, well, I didn't really like you working too much,
mhm.
and I do like a home cooked meal because my mom used to cook for me.
talk
Maybe,
right
which
now.
is cool, which is cool. But I mean, you need to find that person, to your point, that is willing to do those things.
And if your mom's still cooking every night, you're more than welcome to go over there for dinner.
Right. I mean,
That's true. That's
Bring
that's
true.
me.
crazy.
Bring me a plate home with you. I feel you. Like,
Right.
we can both have a home cooked meal every night. Like, yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, I think that's real. I mean, I know I've heard a lot of men kind of go down that line of being like, oh yeah, like I don't want my wife to work, or I, and I can understand like, oh yeah, my wife should stay at home, but if you don't make enough money to support 100% of the bills, then you kind of sitting in this situation where like I don't know what the hell you think gonna happen, like you know what I mean, like so I mean yeah, I think people come into them based upon a lot of different stuff, especially religious wise. I think sometimes people come in with like, well, I feel like God would want us to act like X, Y, Z, but maybe your spouse don't believe that, or maybe your spouse and you got different religious beliefs. But if y'all, to your point, Brent, if y'all never talk about this ahead of time,
Right.
that's
People
where
wait. They don't think about it until it comes up. Like maybe until you have a child and you're like, well,
That's
maybe I
when it
do want to
starts.
be Christian, right? They're like, maybe I want to be Christian, maybe I want them to be Buddhist. It's those random conversations that
Buddhist
come
is
up. Well, look, I'm just saying, you can be whatever you want nowadays. It's
but you're
2026.
right, and
So
you're right, and that's a wild, and you're right, and that's a wild time to have that first conversation, right? It's like, oh, man, we got a kid now. Oh, well,
Mhm.
I think I want to be Baptist. What you mean Baptist? I'm like, yeah, that's a wild time to have that conversation. I mean, it
right.
is like, I mean, because like ultimately, marriage is an act that changes. It doesn't just change your life, but it changes, like your partner's life, your family's life, your friend's life, in the sense of like whoever was connected to you
Right.
now to whatever degree has somebody else connected to them as well.
Right.
And so, it changes everything. And I don't think people sometimes fully account for that fact.
Yeah. But do either of you believe in the husband being the sole provider?
So, yeah, I mean, I think,
Ooh, I saw the brain start to churn a little bit.
so like in the sole provider, like I think,
Paying all the bills. All right, listen. So let me
oh,
break it down. Okay.
you mean like 100%
Yes.
of the bill?
Yeah. Like
Oh,
paying the bills, car note,
So
mortgage, whatever you're doing, the whole thing,
I think
and she still gets some money.
I think realistically, I think realistically, I can't say most men, because some niggas is bums. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just the
Right.
way that it is. But like, I
Right.
think some men would be comfortable with paying 100% of the bills if
Be
they
careful
were
what you say. She's listening. Be
if
careful.
they if they were making enough money to do so. I
Okay.
think the problem I have with that, like the 50-50 or 100% zero type of
Okay.
conversation is that realistically, a lot of niggas not making enough to cover 100%.
not in
Not,
this.
yeah, not in this economy. Like a lot of people just ain't making enough to cover it. And so like I think a lot of times, like I mean, and even to the point to the criticism of some women saying that too. It's like, well, it's like, I need a man that pays 100% of the bills. I can understand that. You might have a problem finding that though. Like you might realistically have to settle with somebody that want to do 80/20 because that's the best he can do. Like, and if it just depends on if that's what you want to take. But I think so, I can't speak for all men, but I think some men, or at least in my mind, men would want to provide for their wife to the at least to the degree that she doesn't feel like the burden overly falls on her.
Okay.
And if that's not money that's taking care of the household, or taking care of the stuff around the house, or taking care of her, like I think in a general sense, most men are trying. Well, I ain't gonna say are trying to. There's a lot of women in unhappy marriages. Their men are trying to, or want to do that. Now, whether they're succeeding at that or not, I don't know. But like
Right.
that's my thought.
But we got to get the other perspective because I can see the faces being made
What
if there's a
face?
state. I think somebody else has something to say to that.
I do.
Oh,
As a child who grew up watching Lifetime movies, I saw and understood that money is power. When these
Yeah,
men pay all bills, have all the money, you're expected to do exactly what they say to do and move how they say to move. And so that's just never been my ministry. I've always kind of, first of all, I don't want to be at home. I don't. Second of all, I like to work. I like to contribute. And third of all, I like to have my own money. If something happens, I need to be able to, I
yeah,
mean, you know, that's all I'm saying. So I feel like that's also something to consider besides the whole homemaking thing. Like, are you willing to do everything that this man says to do if he is paying 100% of the bills. But that's
Yeah.
something else too. A lot of people hold that over your head.
To piggyback off your point, Alexis, I really, and that's a good one to make because like it shocked me how, and I don't even know why it shocked me, but like a lot of men like that power dynamic, and I never like I even if the concept I never wanted to feel like I had to 100 not had to but had 100% control over somebody like that. Where it's like, oh yes, it's like she almost like this person is under my thumb, like they do everything I say because I pay all the bills. Like that seems like
It's a power thing. Look at Diddy. Men just love
that's
power.
Okay, look,
That's what
look,
it is.
we can't do that. We gotta use ordinary people like us, right? Let's not use, people with extreme circumstances. So
Look at
uh
J-Lo when he knows.
oh God.
That's a common situation.
It
Domestic
is.
violence. He beating on her.
Right.
She don't
It
have any
is.
money. He's cutting off all her cars. She can't get away from him. That's a real life situation.
It is.
Okay. I got
I think you're right.
I got another good one then. Since we're talking about this, let's
What's
get a
up?
little bit deeper. Do you believe in a rainy day fund,
Yes.
Alexis?
Yes.
Okay. That your husband may or may not know about.
I don't care if you know or not.
Oh, okay.
So I I believe I wouldn't be I believe in a rainy day fund. I
For
do.
anybody.
Yeah, for anybody. I do think that is something your spouse should be aware of. They don't have to have control or say in it or nothing like
hmm
that.
Ooh.
But I mean, but to the standpoint of like when I think about stuff like this, I always think about it from the other person's perspective, right? So I think about like, damn, what if my wife was like, "Oh, you got some mail from the bank," and she don't go through my mail or nothing like that. But let's just say for this occasion she didn't. Was like, "Oh, you got this nigga got a whole stash away, and like what's going like." And I could understand where that, like where it's like, what the fuck is coming from? Where I'm like, okay,
I
yeah,
disagree. Unless it's like we've been scraping and scrounging and we've been eating off the dollar menu for 3 months and you got $10,000 in a separate bank. Now that would be irritating to me. But I mean, we're allowed
Right.
to have our personal things we're still individual people.
oh yeah,
Right.
So
Right.
as
everything don't
long
have to
as
be shared. Yeah,
mutually everything is cool, in my opinion.
Mm.
no, I agree with you. Yeah, I can't. I agree with you on that. Like, no, we can't be falling behind on bills, and you got like 30, 40, 50, 80,
60,000.
90,
Uh-huh.
100,000 in the bank. Like, all right, then you just been stashing away. It's like, well, goddamn, like
Right.
I feel you on that one.
Right.
Um, and one thing I wanted to ask, because like in sense of this kind of ain't shifting gears, but shifting gears a little bit, like all marriages are unique based upon the people that are in them, so just the personality that are in them, how we all think, what we believe in, our likes, dislikes, so on and so forth. One question I wanted to ask y'all is what do you think is unique about your individual marriages? Not to get too deep into y'all business, but just
That's fine. You can get in it. You can get into it. That's okay. I got nothing to hide. Um, I'll say what's unique is probably the way we communicate, but that's probably because we didn't communicate that well at the beginning of our marriage because you just have to learn how to communicate a little bit differently when you're married. Um, so I would say it's probably the communication is what changed the most and which is probably unique because we don't let stuff linger, even like going, before you go to bed, or even
Mhm.
if it's some in the middle of the day, you're like, hey, like we're going to talk about this later, we'll table it, but it doesn't really change kind of how you guys go forward throughout your day. So, mm-hmm.
Oh,
What
me.
about
Alexis.
Um, hmm. I think we just have a marriage that works for us. We've been married for a long time. So we just kind of respect what each other needs and give each other the space to be individual people, but also come together as a couple. Um, hmm. I'll I'll stop right there for now.
Mhm. I mean, I think my answer is similar to yours, Alexis. I think our level of independence is unique. Like we don't have a marriage where I feel like we are in each other's face. I mean, we spend a lot of time together, but I don't feel like we have to be in each other's face or anything like that, or even each other come be like even as of right now, like I'm upstairs filming this. I think she probably downstairs watching TV or something like that, and it might be the same for a while. Like it just it is. kind of that separate type of, not separate, but just that kind of, you can have space and be amongst in the same place. Um, I think kind of our work schedules kind of might be unique in terms of that as well. So yeah, I mean, and I think, like I said, to your point, I mean, I think it just, you've learned, to both of y'all points, you've learned your partner over time, and you kind of learn their like, I mean, their kind of what their ticks are, what kind of things they like, things they dislike, how to get along with them throughout the day, all those sort of things, and you kind of learn how to kind of make it work off of that. So I mean, yeah. And another question I wanted to ask y'all is kind of, I know we talked a little bit earlier about people having preconceived notions or expectations in marriage. For you all personally, um, how did I guess, the expectation that you might have had growing up or before you got married, how did that line up with the reality of being married? Was it like far off? Was it like, yeah, this is kind of what I thought it was going to be like? I know for me, it was kind of like half and half. Like parts of it, I was like, okay, this is, this is kind of what I thought it was going to be like. Um, because I mean, my wife is different than most of the women that I've been involved with. So I've had, like just the concept of how our relationship just works differently. Um, and so, I mean, that was kind of like, for me, I guess, expectation wise, the biggest change. Um, Also, I mean, I think my wife is I don't say more independent than I thought that, I guess, the woman I married would be, because I don't think that's the word I'm looking for. But she's a lot more no, I can't even say self-sufficient. Yeah, I got to think of the word I'm looking for, because that is not the word I'm looking for. But I mean, because she had things figured out on her own. I think I was the one that was more like, yeah, I was an adult. I think I was doing a lot, but like looking at all the stuff she was doing, I was like, oh, okay, I see that. Like, so I guess
You're
in
gonna do
terms of,
better.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way about that. That's a good way of putting it. And so, for y'all, was y'all's expectations kind of coming up, or pre-marriage what you thought marriage? I mean, was marriage what you thought it was going to be like in that sense, or was it just like, oh, this is different than I thought? Like, oh, this is a wake-up call. This is different than I thought it was going to be.
I would say it's probably half and half. It wasn't a shocker to me, which is kind of why I waited
Mm-hmm.
to make sure I was ready. Just
Can
because
I interject? How old were
yeah,
you when you got married, and how long have you been married?
I've been married since 2019, so going on, well, 6 years, 7 years. So it's been, I would say it's been a learning experience, and we both have changed over time. Whether it's like careers or jobs, or whether she's working and now we have a child. So a lot of things have changed over, you know, the past 6 years.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Okay. And one
Is it
question.
my turn?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
Oh,
we're
I
waiting
just,
for you. We're waiting for you because.
as far as preconceived notions affecting my marriage, and if anything was surprising, that was the question, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so I feel like I saw a whole bunch of different types, different types of marriage, and not to be putting my own business out there. But I also saw, if it ain't what it is, then you can get on. So I take it
Mhm.
seriously, but I also know like I'm gonna put my best effort into it. I feel like it was very important that we were really good friends first. And sometimes I can just be like, can we just not be husband and wife and I just tell you something right now because I just need to talk to somebody. So I think that's a good thing too, that we can kind of do that and still, we're always going to love each other, period. That's just what it is. As we grow and change, we have that respect for each other. And I feel like just because I saw a whole bunch of different marriages, I don't know what I expected. I still don't know. Didn't tell you what's going to happen next year.
Now you're right about that. It could be a completely different story. I think that to point that both of y'all said, like, like things have changed even, but for us, and things have changed. And a year from now, it could be different. Like it could be a completely different thing.
I think it's important to have that underlying love and respect
Oh yeah,
for each other
Yeah, for
as
sure.
human beings, as individuals.
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, I think you said something important in terms of like sometimes just taking the whole. I think sometimes people make it too big, like this whole thing around it, but just taking the whole like, oh, we're married and everything out of it. Like, can we just talk as people, like, as
Right.
friends and as people that know each other and love each other for a second, and not the concept of, oh, I need to talk to you as my husband or as my wife and everything. But like, can we just like, not to sound like one of them old people or something? Can we, what they say, real rap? Can we real rap for a second or whatever they would call it?
Whatever the new age people say, I, I don't know. You
I
would
don't
know
know.
that. You would know that stuff.
I'm a young rapscallion. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm old soul, so it's okay. Um, And then one thing with marriage, right, that I think is paramount is, I mean, for me, I think this came kind of easier, is conflict resolution skills. I mean, because I think obviously the point both of y'all brought up, you're going to come into terms of this disagreement or conflict at points. Like
Hmm.
that's just human nature. That ain't even a thing. Usually that ain't even a sign. Oh dang.
I'm here.
Oh, that ain't even a sign of a bad marriage.
Hello.
That ain't even a sign of a bad marriage. It's just a sign of, people as, just as one.
Hmm.
And just one thing I wanted to ask for y'all was, how do you handle, how do you and your spouse, I guess, how do y'all as a unit handle conflict, or handle confrontation or disagreements?
Compromise and grace. Yeah, I could say that probably
That's a church
20,000
answer.
times. It's true though. It's true. It's true. Like, yeah, it is a church answer, but you have
But
to
that's the
have.
truth.
It's the truth though,
You
because
gotta
you
have
have
God in your
to.
life, bro.
You, right. That's why I don't curse. So you have to compromise with, because you were a single person at one point in time in your life, and you are making this shift. So whether that's how how you move about your day, you have to compromise with that. And then grace is just knowing that your spouse is doing things out of good faith. You should always hope they're doing the right thing, or they're not intentionally trying to hurt you. Right. So that's kind of my point of view. Now, if anybody else has a non-church answer, be my guest. I'm all ears. Wait,
Um,
wait.
Oh, not you trying to be like me.
Yeah, come on.
Well, I don't believe in domestic violence, but I do sometimes feel like if we could just put on a little sock and bopper and just like, you know. But apart from that, just communication. Like this is what I saw happen. This is how it made me feel. This is how I took it. Just talk about it. Usually it'll resolve itself, honestly. It's not that serious most of the time.
I agree with you. I mean, I think for us it was I think for us I think for me, quite frankly, the weird thing was I think I had to start caring more.
I can see that. Knowing you.
Yeah. I think that was the weird thing about me was like I'm very good in the conflict resolution sense of being like, yeah, whatever, like that's fine. And I think I had to start putting more effort into conflict, I think,
Hmm.
to kind of, I mean, to not just be like, not to get through it, but to actually solve the issue.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times I put it into being like, I just want to like just to get us past it rather than being like, all right, how do we actually work through this? And I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things. I think for a lot of people, men and women,
I think
that's
a lot
kind
of
of,
men,
yeah,
especially, just want to be like, okay, sure, I'm wrong, so you can shut up.
yeah.
Instead of actually like listening and hearing the problem so we can resolve it and we don't have to keep bringing this up.
And it took me a while it
I
took
felt
me
that.
longer. Yeah, I felt attacked when she said that because
I know, right?
it took me longer than I would like to admit to come to that understanding that, yeah, like just being like, okay, whatever, yeah, you're right, cool, let's like, because you're trying to dead it, never deaded it. So like, yeah, I get that.
If he doesn't
Yeah,
address it, it's gonna keep coming back up.
exactly. And one thing I wanted to ask y'all, because me and my wife don't have children yet, is how did children impact y'all's marriage, for better or for worse? Like, how did that impact it? If it
Mine was
impacted
before I
it.
got married. So.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that one.
But honestly, I do feel like in times where we're not getting along, the children help because especially Bella, because she's like, "Come on, let's hold hands, let's say prayers, let's eat as a family." And I'm like, "Please get this man out of my face!" Like I'm really not trying to see him right now. But I
Bella
think
is
in
your
that
daughter.
way,
Bella is 100% your daughter. That is,
in that way, she does help to be like, "All right, we're about to be a family right now, so
mhm.
figure it out."
Mm,
That's sweet. That's very
yeah,
sweet.
I like that.
Mm,
I like that.
That is very sweet. And how did family, both of y'all, how did, you or your spouse's families and friends and kind of those, they're already kind of existing dynamics, how did that kind of impact marriage for y'all?
Mm,
I don't think I did. I've been married for so long.
Yeah, I understand.
I've been married for so long. I don't even know.
Because yeah, because sometimes it can be hard for some people. Because I've seen instances where some people like their friends, like it was hard for some people to prioritize their marriage compared to like other friendships they had or other family relationships that they had. And I'm glad to hear for y'all it wasn't, because I know for some people, like, like it's hard for them to kind of put that into perspective where it's like, oh, my life was always, like me and my homeboys. Well, now I have to keep my homeboys and my wife. I have to kind of,
Yeah, y'all be over here.
mm.
yeah,
So y'all still around.
that is true. That is very true. You're right about that one.
Mm.
Um, and then one thing I want to ask in terms of it is like we all have I mean, within marriage, like I know it's the concept of like you're two people coming together as one. But even within that, like we all have our own individualness within it. Like, and we all have boundaries of that sense. And
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
so I guess the question I wanted to ask in terms of it is like, how did you come to, I guess, create certain boundaries in your marriage? And just kind of like, are there, not asking y'all for y'all specific boundaries or anything, but like, are there appropriate or
Mm.
inappropriate boundaries in marriage generally? Like, can people have like? Because I know, like, for example, and again, it's different. I know some marriages where like they go through each other's phones, or they look at each other's mail, or like they. Yeah, I see exactly to how you look, and I'm like, fuck that. But that's what they do, like and so it's like it is that and for some they might think that's a healthy boundary. For me, I mean, something healthy. You're like, no. Some women might be like, hey, I can't check your phone whenever. I think that's kind of shady. I would be like, I don't think that's the case. You just want to be able to be like, I don't want somebody anytime just to be like, I'm just look through it. So, I mean, I think there's different, depending on the people, different boundaries to set up. So I just want to know, from your perspective, how did you go about creating, whatever boundaries you have set up in terms of, how did those conversations go or whatever?
Mm. Go ahead, Alexis. I can see your eyes. Just she's ready to go. I can just see. I'll wait. Please.
All right, I'm a professional wife. Trial and error. I mean, you talked about it in the beginning. Of course, we did premarital counseling. I think y'all did too.
Mhm,
Yeah, we do all that. You communicate, but as you go through life, things come up. Like we never experienced this before, so we're gonna talk
Mm-hmm.
about it and we're gonna figure out what the boundary is that's comfortable for both of us. I think it's an individual decision, but you need to make it, that sounds stupid, but make it mutually, you know what I mean?
mhm. No, I get you 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you just go with the flow whenever they come up. I don't
Yeah.
think there's like I said, you can't really predict
Yeah.
when you'll have like you'll know when it's a boundary when it happens.
Oh
But I
yeah,
don't
you're
think that's
gonna
yeah, you can like, I don't think that's kind of cool what you did. I don't really appreciate that. And then, you go from there.
Yeah,
So,
some because to your point, sometimes you don't know what line you want to draw till they get crossed. It's like, all right, let's
right.
talk about this. It's cool this time, but let's talk about how this ain't like how this gonna go moving forward. So I feel that.
Marriage is a
Um,
learning experience.
It is.
You
I
don't have to
say
know it all
that
when you
to
get married.
I say that to everybody when they ask me. They're like, how's being married? How's marriage? It's a learning experience. I say that
Hmm.
to everybody because it
It's
is
regular
like,
for me. We was already together.
and like in the
No,
spirit of
it's
my
happening.
father, it, in the spirit of my father, I feel like I had to ask this question. Because it may or may not. But how both of y'all are married to black people. I'm married to a black person too. So like, how
Mhm.
important, if at all, was marrying within your race to you?
None. It had no weight or bearing, honestly.
Just happened. I mean, that's good. You just happen to be black.
Yes, I mean, okay. Let me rephrase
Mhm,
this.
When you
mhm.
bought when you brought your wife home to mom and dad, they was like,
Yeah,
that
I
was her being
mean,
black an extra thumbs up.
I don't know about that. Okay.
I don't think it's extra, but I feel like if it's somebody not black, then it's like a
Yeah.
like now I gotta
Well,
sign.
okay. I probably could have brought home, a white girl, but like if she wasn't black, she'd probably be like Latina or something. It would be
Of
in one or
color.
the other. Yeah, somebody with color that can cook and season food. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
Just
Like
saying.
I love me a little tortilla, taco,
Yep. Tortilla
empanada,
tacos. There we go.
Empanada. My mama would always tell me, she was
egg
like,
roll.
I don't know about the egg roll.
I like egg rolls, wonton, dumpling,
You
nail.
My mom always told me, she was like, I don't care what color she comes. I don't care what color you bring
right.
home as long as it's not white. That's literally what she always told
That was the old saying for me, yeah.
me. Like, I don't care what
But my
color as
mom's
long as
probably
it ain't
still
white.
serious about that.
I
Yeah,
remember
I think
telling my
that's
mom
more
I
of
was
a
dating.
son conversation because I think that happened with my brother, but not me.
You think that they didn't care? They just was like, they just feel, your mama just felt like, nah, she gonna,
She already see what it is.
yeah. I'm about to tell you, I'm about to say your mom was like,
I had
I,
boyfriends.
I got you. Because I remember I told my mom I was dating a white girl once, and the look on her face, to this day, I will never forget. I will never forget it. She was, she looked, it was like a level, it was like a mix of disgust and sadness. It was like,
Yeah,
I was like, okay, mom.
Oh, that's funny.
Um, and but y'all, if somebody was to ask you what's the biggest lesson that you've learned from marriage so far, what would that be?
I would say live
Listen.
your life for you.
Oh, oh.
You don't need to listen to other people's preconceived notions. Everybody's marriage is different. Everybody is different. The things that you
Mhm.
want and require in your life are different. Just do what makes you happy. Don't be, don't listen to other people. Who cares if people have opinion on your marriage? Who cares? What does it have to do with them? Like literally nothing. So that would be mine.
I like that. That was
I do
good.
too. That's a great answer.
I know.
That is a great answer.
Hmm.
And like to kind of switch the, I guess the gears a little bit, switch to some of the concerns I have with in terms of this conversation, not marriage, but in terms of I guess this topic of it. Like one of the things that I at least that I see a lot that I think is kind of a concern is that marriage in terms of like how the media shows it, sometimes it can be kind of lackadaisical in terms of I guess how they show people's commitment to it. And
Hmm.
like this is gonna sound weird. Tyler Perry shows is like a perfect example. Like all Tyler Perry stuff is like a perfect example of this for me. Like almost all of it. Because like,
Well,
what's the show? What's the show?
house of
Is it
pain.
Beauty in the Black? Is it Beauty in the Black? What's the
Oh,
one with
Beauty and
the
Black.
Beauty in Black? Yeah, the hairstyle, the one with the hairstyle people, the hair care product people. That's Beauty in Black,
Mm-hmm.
I think. That's one. Or even the Oval, the one with the president and stuff. That's another one. It's like where you'll see people and it'd be like they're married. and they don't give two shits about their marriage or anything like that, or they're doing like anything. They talking crap about their spouse, or they having sex with other people, or they doing anything to betray their spouse. But at the end of the day, they come together because they love each other, and it gives the perception that they got a strong marriage. And I think that's part of like the stuff that be making people think like you can just do whatever in marriage and things of that nature. But I also think it's the same with like soap operas and like people when they get in celebrity marriages and how they show them in the media. And I just think it's a certain level, and I could be wrong with that, but I think it's a certain level, like just kind of like I don't know the word. I don't want to say lackadaisicalness again. That would be it. That comes with it. I mean that they show it where people are just kind of doing stuff where it's like I don't think realistically I don't see people sticking around for this. Like I say that because almost every Tyler Perry show I've ever or movie I've ever seen, it's at least one couple where they're married and they just are doing what the fuck ever. And it's just like, but they come together by the end of it because they love
It's
each other.
over. What you're probably looking for is over dramatized
Yeah.
because that's essentially what his stuff is. But I think a lot of shows with black people being married or in a couple of it's never number one healthy and it's not really realistic either. A lot of them are not.
It's for
But
entertainment.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess you're right
that's
Again,
about
all
that.
it
a
is.
healthy marriage is boring to watch. Who's gonna watch that?
Right. We gotta watch somebody get beat up,
You remember
cheat
when Tasha was
on.
smashing Homeboy in
That's
Power and
crazy.
everybody was so shocked even though he had been with Homegirl the whole time?
Right. Right.
Entertainment. What is it?
Entertainment. You're right about that. And
But I do
like,
feel like it can give off the wrong idea if your frontal lobe is not developed enough to know that this is entertainment
I
and
like
not
this
real life.
frontal lobe conversation. I like this. I see what you're coming from. They're not
yeah, because
developed yet.
you do have to be mentally developed. I think marriage requires a certain level to your point of mental development that you can't come into it with immature thoughts. I
Right.
definitely agree with that. I mean, I think to that point, like, people get the point we talked about earlier, people get caught up in like gender roles or expectations or preconceived notion to the point. I think Alexis, you said it wonderfully earlier, where they to not take in outside noise. Like what works for y'all works for y'all.
Hmm.
And I don't think a lot of people oftentimes are comfortable living in that fact. Like,
Because what about everybody else's opinion?
mhm. And, like sometimes people are in situations where they are happy or they are clicking, and yet when they hear other people, it's like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that if I was you or something like that. And then it kind of goes down that rabbit hole where things get bad because they let that outside noise in. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, I definitely think so. Um, Oh, and to a point that we talked about earlier, I think one thing I wanted to ask is, do you think people are truly aware, I guess, of the amount of, I guess, kind of, I don't like saying work. People always say marriage is work. I mean, to a degree, I mean, work is a broad word to use.
Life
But
is
like,
work.
work, sacrifice, compromise, all things. Like, you think people are truly aware of like the amount? Because I always say, like, you won't really know until you get married, how much goes into it. And I gotta agree with that to a degree. Like, but I don't think people, even with that statement, really know, like, if they're considering getting married or anything, just how much kind of goes into it. And just want to ask, in terms of that, do y'all think that people have an idea of it, or is it just kind of just like now?
I don't think people do, honestly. I think kind of like we at the beginning when we were talking about, people taking marriage seriously. Um, I think some people just want to be married. Some people just want the title of being married, but don't know what really takes to stick it out. So that's all I got.
Yeah. And like when to another point that we brought up earlier, like one thing is I think a lot of people don't, and I really don't understand why. I get it to a degree. Like Brandon, you were talking about this earlier in terms of just like sometimes people don't have like proper conversations until I guess
So it
shit hits
comes
the
up.
fan and there is there. Like, I think people get married sometimes without fully knowing their partner.
Right.
I agree.
For
And
themselves.
that I never really understood why I mean, I understood why, because like sometimes if you, especially actually name something, if you're in a relationship, and sometimes I think it's even more prevalent for people that have been in multiple relationships or relationships that were toxic or ended badly or whatever the case is. And you're in a relationship where you feel like things are good or great or better than what's been in the past, at least. Sometimes it's a tendency to be like, I don't want to rock the boat because I don't want things to go badly or something like that. And I think
Avoiding
that,
conflict.
yeah, I think that's where you kind of lead down that road of again of like not fully knowing your partner, and then to the point of where like one day, y'all might be 4 months married and you look over and you're like, damn, I really like this person is really somebody like the shit they into or like the type of person they have or their hobbies or their interests or stuff like that. I did not know. I mean, like in the most extreme sense, I always found like in the most extreme sense, because I guess they would never share this information. I always thought like serial killers were wild because like you would be I mean, in a sense, like they would be like married men with like families, be like
Yep.
the damn little league softball coach and all that stuff, and they had like these sick derangements outside, like and not just serial killers. I mean, there's all sort of stuff like that, like but. I just think it's wild to get married to somebody and not feel like you full. I mean, sometimes maybe they do it; they was just wrong, like mistaken. But just to not fully feel like you know the person you get married to, like that's a
You,
crazy time.
but you can't. So you know somebody as much as you can because people are going to change. Because
Yeah.
day one of you being married, you're gonna be different. Year 10. So whether that's like personality change or just life circumstances, but you should know your partner enough to know like what their favorite food is. If they like mayonnaise on their burger or not. Or they like egg rolls, right? Like I think egg rolls are important too.
I appreciate the inclusivity.
You're welcome.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think so. I think you should know your partner well enough to know certain, things or traits or ticks about them or
Right.
anything like that. I think it's crazy when you see stuff and it's like, oh yeah, like one day he just snapped and I just didn't know like that was him. And it's like you never saw anything that made him tick or
Sometimes
yeah, but you're
it
right.
does
Sometimes it's
happen.
just
There were signs. There were signs. The holes
No,
in the wall.
I saw something on TikTok and the girl was like her and her husband, they loved each other so much. And he had like hit his head by accident something earlier that day. By the end of the night, he was trying to kill her. So
oh wow.
literally just that quick, something could happen. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it could change. You're
yeah.
right about that. I mean, and this kind of that's a in a way that's a good segue to my next question. Because I think when people are facing hard times in their marriage or issues in their marriage, I think in a general sense it can be categorized under one or two type of topics, or one or two ways to look at it. It's either like, is this like an issue that y'all can work yourself through or a fixable issue? Or
Hmm.
is this something where it's like, this is a situation where you should leave? I mean, because even in marriage, like there are certain situations where it's like, yeah, you shouldn't stay in this situation. Like, like if y'all are having conversations about, oh, how, I feel like you should come in at a certain time at night. That might be a fixable issue. Your husband beating on you isn't a fixable issue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like that, like, so there are six. And so my question being is, for what would be your advice to people in terms of how to kind of decipher that line of what's a fixable issue or what's something where it's like, no, nah, that's a dead point.
Mm,
Like, don't. I mean, because some things it's just like, yeah, you shouldn't try to fix that. Like,
How
um,
likely it is to change.
that's a good point. I
Sometimes
like
people
that.
just are who they are. They're not going to change. So you might as well just hit the road. But you should have known that before you got married. But
right.
again, people just jump into whatever because they don't take anything serious anymore.
And it's true.
So
Mm.
what it is.
Hands. Yeah, don't put hands on nobody. I think that's unfixable for sure.
Not even the sock and boppers.
I mean, look, whatever y'all want to do in the ring,
In army.
that's on you.
The sock and boppers. Well, sock and boppers might work
Little
sometimes.
pillow fight.
Pillow fight
I
might work.
mean,
Knock the glasses off your face.
I,
Oh, go
I'm
sit.
Wow.
talk. Look, I'm talking about closed fist. I'm not talking about sock and boppers or whatever. Okay, I'm talking about closed fist, knocking people out, sending them to the ER, saying that you tripped and fell. That is a line that should not be crossed.
I agree. Especially if you bring children into it, it's not going to stop.
Facts, right? Or
Mine has always been
abusive
the police.
language.
Mine has always been the police. And just in a weird, just a weird example, I've always said, I mean, this is even before I got married. In every relationship, I always say, you call the police on me, we done. Like, because either I did something and
That's a
I
death
did,
threat at this point. I
yeah,
mean,
I was like, either I did something and it's best you need to remove yourself, or you tripping and you call the police and I need to remove myself. Either way, if we got the police breaking us up, yeah, we need to go ahead and call this a day now. Because
Right.
that shit ain't gonna go nowhere but bad from there. Like, so I've always said that. Like, yeah, you call the police on me, you might as well be like, yeah, go ahead and start folding up the clothes. Like, that's just how that's gonna go.
oh, Kaylani.
Mm-hmm. You know they say men love. That's the new version of the Fantasia song "When I See You" or Ella May booed up like from men. Like men love that song.
I like that song too. But I am
Uh,
a YN, so
I
undercover.
like that. I like
Robbie,
that
you be
song.
singing those songs in the shower. That's what you be singing, Rob. You got
You
booed
know
up.
it, bro. You know it. You got to hit the high notes and everything.
Oh man, you be singing folded too, don't you?
First of all, that song is fire.
It
It is
is.
fire.
It
It is.
is.
Look. I was just saying. I
You
go.
got to be grabbing your
Gotta
chest and
get your
stuff.
runs.
Yep.
And if you in the shower, you can act like the old school R&B singers in the rain and everything like that too. Like, shoot, what? Yeah, you can get it
Right.
all in.
Oh,
Um,
Mario.
Mm.
and like what again, this kind of segued in another one. Like one thing that was crazy to me was before I got married, I asked a lot of men I knew, whether my family, work with, just in the community, fraternity, all sort of stuff, just their interpretation of their marriage and how they felt about their marriage and everything like that. And it surprised me how many men genuinely did not like their wife.
Oh, that's not surprising to me.
And so I was gonna say it's probably a different perspective from you, Alexis, in that concept. Like it was genuinely. I remember one guy, and
Was
like,
it my husband?
no, it wasn't.
All right, because I'll call me.
No, I know you will. I'm 100% sure that you would. I remember one guy, and I ain't gonna put his business out there because he actually might watch this. But
I can't wait to hear it.
bro was telling me, he was like, bro, the only time I get peace is when I'm cheating on my wife. And I'm like,
That's
Jesus Christ.
crazy.
Bro. But like, and when I tell you, like, nothing funny, like he was telling me that with 100% seriousness in his face. Like, I'm telling you something because I want you to know it type shit. And I'm just like, I watched the man sit there and I watched the man sit there and talk shit about his wife 30 minutes straight. And she called, and I watched this nigga have to just, like, as soon as she called him, look like, oh my God. And then have to put the face and the voice on to be like, hey, honey, and then be like, shit, bitch always on my case and stuff. And I'm just like, yo, I could not imagine. But then again, I mean, I know a lot of women that don't like their husbands. So, like, or sick of their husbands too. And
Right.
so it gets, it's a wild concept to me that there are so many people out there that just do not like, I mean, because I get the concept of it's when you're married, and especially if you're married for a long periods of times, love and hate almost, not hate, but this, you're going to like and dislike your partner at times. And that line is going to be very thin. You know what I mean? That's just, yeah, razor thin sometimes. Like, and so it's gonna be time where you're gonna be like, I love you, but you really are irking my last fucking nerve right now.
Sorry.
And so I get that concept of it. It's always gonna be that. That's normal, that's human nature. But
Yeah.
it just shocked me how many people genuinely just did not like their spouse. Like on some like if I could leave, I would. Like, but if I could leave, I would. But for XYZ reason, I can't. So it's like, yeah, we here, type thing. And
Getting
I
too
just want
deep.
to ask like what y'all perspective was on that. That's something that y'all had seen from people, and just how you interpret that.
Have I witnessed it? Yes.
Mhm.
There goes your answer.
Yes,
Whether they're cheating or they're just working a whole lot and refusing to go home.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that was because for some people, that's what it is. Some people was like, hey, I stay at work, so I ain't got to come home. Like some people was like, hey, I stay out doing whatever because like I don't like, like some. I mean, and for a variety of reasons. It just never occurred to me just how many men that I knew in that sense. And it wasn't like the vast majority of the ones I asked. It was just like I just remember their stories of just being like, man, my wife is a pain in my ass and I can't stand her and blah blah blah. And I'm like, damn dog, why you married then? I mean, you
They
could
be
literally leave.
nasty. Like,
It's too hard. It's too hard to get divorced too. Well, not
yeah,
too
that,
hard.
and I
Some people
also
don't
think
want
that
to.
men have some kind of sense of obligation, like, oh, well, I didn't marry this girl, so now I got to take care of her, and blah blah blah. So since they putting that on it, of course,
Loyalty.
now it's a responsibility. I mean,
I guess you're right.
Loyalty.
so
I guess you're right. And
But
like
men genuinely will stay in a relationship though, even if they're unhappy, just because
I
they know
remember
because
saying
they
they're
could
that.
possibly
powerless.
not be right.
Men don't usually leave unless it's another woman involved. I would say that. What do you
I,
think?
Right. Maybe.
I think so to your degree. I remember seeing I forget if it was on the internet or what, but it was something that was saying yeah that a majority of the time men are less likely to leave relationships whether they're happy or not. Well, you wouldn't leave if you're happy, but like if you were unhappy, they're less likely to leave. And I think both of you are correct. I think it's a sense of obligation and responsibility to it, and a sense of
Cowardly.
like I think to a degree.
Yeah.
I know. So I
Because why
mean,
are you wasting my time? And now I'm gonna be 55. I'm all dried up and raggedy. You
Dried
didn't
up
treat
and
me
raggedy.
bad, and
That
now
is
you done left me
crazy.
for this 20-year-old. You could have left me 20
and
years
I was on a plane with this lady one time a few years ago, and she was telling me
ago.
that she was like, like my husband left me. It was an older lady. So like my husband left me for this 30-year-old,
Mm.
and just like left me the kids, and I never worked a day in my life, and I'm just like
High and dry.
high and like
Get a job.
literally high and
Drink
dry.
some
Like
water. Jesus. Everybody's talking about high and dry. Just drink some water. You be all right.
Mm.
I know
You gotta
somebody.
take care of yourself.
I know somebody that just got married for like the third time, and then he started cheating on his wife like maybe a few
Ooh,
months later,
Stop
ooh.
and then
trying to be messy. Stop trying to be messy. Just
I'm
and,
gonna
and
stop.
then
just
he
see as
got
soon as we get off of here.
and then he got the girl pregnant that he was messing with, and
That's
they
wild.
ended up getting a divorce, and I think he eventually I think somebody asked him like, so you gonna marry her too, and he was like,
Do I know
That's
these?
wild.
no.
I had a guess. Never mind.
Oh,
That's crazy. That's crazy you even had to guess. That's
I had
wild.
a guess about something earlier too, but I'll just leave that alone.
but like I think I mean because like there are people. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. No, but actually I'm surprised I talked
But
this whole
see,
time and didn't
but
think
you
about
see how
that.
you knew who it was immediately.
Yeah, and I'm surprised I talked this whole episode and didn't even think about that. You're right.
Mm-mm.
Because there are people out there that just continually cheat on their wives. And it's just like, hey, that's
And
just
heck
how
a
they are.
ball. The day before, the day of, the day after the wedding. Going crazy. Anyway, that's none of my business. I'm just
um,
edit that out.
no, I mean, I think you said it's a great, like, I think unhealthy marriages to a degree, like they negatively impact people. I mean, it negatively impacts everybody, right? Like, because like, if you're around people that are, in a healthy relationship, whether it's like, your friends, your family members or something, that's a draw on you. Like, like nobody wants to be around niggas and like a toxic or a miserable couple, or even just like you want to be there for people that you know, but if they miserable from their marriage, that brings you down to a degree. It makes you feel miserable with them at times. So like,
As we get older, we just want some peace. I ain't trying to do all that. So please keep that over there. And I'm gonna just be over here.
I agree. Sometimes, I mean, like you said, I mean, peace, to your point, peace as you get older is like worth its weight in gold.
I
Mm-hmm.
need peace now. What you mean?
Yeah,
This is us being older.
yeah,
Oh,
like it's worth its weight in gold. And so like, yeah, if you ain't providing that peace, I mean, not if you ain't, but like, yeah, I mean, if you ain't coming, if you're not bringing peace to my life, because you always have, turbulence or turmoil because of what's going on in your marriage or your relationship. Yeah, that's the
Now
type
your
of thing.
partner calling me at 2 a.m. to ask me, was I with you at this place?
mm,
Well,
mm.
I don't
Be
remember
honest.
that.
Well, be honest. Don't lie. Well, be honest. Come on.
Yeah, I ain't trying. Yeah, I can't.
Mm, I remember.
I don't need somebody wife calling me in the middle of the night. Have you seen so and so?
Yes, I
Mm-mm.
have. He is at the bar down the street.
Yeah, now I gotta depend. Like, damn, am I about to lie to this person? Am I not, I ain't really trying to
Don't
do
lie. Don't lie. The snowball rolls downhill. Don't lie.
that. You right.
You know
That's
what you
just,
do? Don't answer.
don't answer. Yeah, just say I don't know. It's okay to tell the truth. I don't know. I don't know.
Couldn't tell you a thing.
Then
Actually, I was asleep.
yo no sé.
Mm,
Sleep.
Ni
Interesting.
no hablo
Answer the phone.
inglés.
yeah.
Yo no sé. Ni no hablo inglés.
Mm-mm.
So like, I
I
think
have a
like,
question for you.
what's up?
What do you think about these new age young men who are living off women?
Mm,
So I will preface that by
Mhm.
saying,
mm.
in my opinion,
These Gen Zers are not providers.
they're not, but I
They're
think
not.
they learned that from a certain. I don't think that's a behavior that they picked up from nowhere. I think that's a learned behavior. I think I do think that a lot of men, and it's funny because my dad was just talking about this in the last one I filmed because he was
You
saying
should
like
make me do one with your dad. We would have a
you would
great
probably enjoy it.
time.
He would enjoy it when he was a little younger. Now that he's older, he done got a little slower and stuff. So it's like but he was talking about like how like the biggest change he's seen in his lifetime was how women have had to step up because a lot of men have either they're
Step
trying to find their footing or they just he was saying like to the degree like
down.
myself or even you, Brendan, like men like that are more not I won't say the minority, but it's not as easy to find as it was in the past. You know what I mean?
What
Like,
exactly is men like you
well, I
guys?
mean, in terms of one that might be like that established in their job or willing to commit to a woman or one that you would think would be marriage material in a sense, or just even just holding down their responsibilities. Because he
Okay.
was saying like the biggest change is that you've seen a lot of women have to step up in various different roles because of voids that were left from men.
Yeah. Is it the
And
parenting?
yeah, parenting, economically. Um,
What you see in the household?
mhm. And so to
Mhm,
answer your
mhm.
question, I think to a degree it's not new because there's always been bum niggas, living off of women. But I do think that
It's escalated.
oh, it's escalated. I think that a lot of men now, the younger men, I
They don't
think
care.
they don't care. I mean, I think that's just a point of the younger generation in general is that they just have a certain
Right.
level of apathy towards everything.
Yeah.
But the other half of it is, I don't think the younger generation in a whole either has a lot of like self-sustainable skills.
Parenting.
Like they don't have a lot of like drive or skills to like do stuff.
Yeah.
But kind of,
Drive.
but kind of to your point, right? When you said learned behavior, there's a lot of women that allow these younger men to
Parenting.
leech off of them, right? You let them drive your car, you let them spend their money, they can, treat them badly. Okay, okay, they don't have no money. That's why they use yours. So,
For me.
okay, except for you. Okay,
Thank you.
just put a halo over your head. Just go ahead. Just go ahead and put the halo up there, and we'll just leave it there.
No,
But yeah, I
it
think.
ain't never happening. My mom taught me better than that. So parenting.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right.
yes, right. But yeah, I think like it's to your point, it's learned behavior. If a woman has let me, if every woman I've been with allows me to leech off of her, I'm
And I'm
gonna
gonna
do it to
think
you
it's
too.
I do, and so that's Brandon. You break up a good point because I agree with that too. I think it has been. I mean, and I think this is also something that has been something that's always been in the past too. There are some women that I've always been shocked with the amount of things that they will allow.
Right.
Like just in general, like I'm just like like I think like like for better or worse, there are some women I've been like I just like it's not it's just shocking that they would allow this to
Yeah,
happen,
that's
and so I can understand that. I think I
mm,
think to a degree, yeah, when you have situations where I think, and also I think a lot of relationships now, especially with the younger generation, they don't come. They're almost like baseless in a sense, like a
Right.
lot of the younger, like the Gen Zers and stuff, their relationships don't tend to have any expectations or like
It's a
responsibility to them.
situationship. It's a
Yeah, it's more,
situationship
yeah.
with no
So I think
responsibility.
they
it's
don't
peace.
even, yeah, like they like, so like their concept of commitment is just like, we doing what we
Non-existent.
do. Like, it's like we just doing what we do, and that's what it is. And like also I don't think a lot of these Gen Zers care about themselves really. And so if you don't care about yourself, you damn sure ain't gonna care about me. You know what I mean? Like if you don't care about your own well-being, the hell I'm gonna expect you to care about mine for. And so I mean
Right.
I think all those reasons is kind of why you see like a lot of the kind of like the Gen Z type of men be where a lot of women are like, man, these men just aren't like the type of men that you would depend on or the type of men you would want to be married to. I can understand where they're coming from in that concept.
But I mean, you can switch that around the men that they choose because there are decent men out there. They may not, as they would like to say, be their type. No offense, Alexis, not talking about you because remember you're different. So you keep dating the guy that that ain't crap. He doesn't really do anything for you, but that's the same person you continuously date. So some of the times the damage is self inflicted. Oh,
So
go ahead, please.
And we all round this back out to be parenting. It's all generational habits.
I
I
think
mean,
so.
genuinely, like as the oldest daughter, and I have a baby brother, no shade to my brother, my life was way, way harder than his. And he kind of just like got helped along. He didn't really have to do much. And not that he
Right.
leeches off people now, he does work and everything, but in other situations, other people. Of course, if your mom, you never really had to work for anything, she never really did anything. Let's say she had men in and out that she was also taking care of. You saw your mother doing that. So then you're going to
Mhm.
look for a girl to do that and vice versa. A daughter who was raised in that household. I've always seen my mom let these dudes use her car and she's fussing with him in the front yard. So I think that's normal.
Hmm.
So now, yeah, I'm accepting the same behavior from these same kind of men because that's just all I know. That's all I've seen. Me, on the other hand, because I am different. My mom was never like that. My mom, none of the women in my family, they never took any mess. So I wasn't raised like that, and I've never been in that kind of situation.
I mean, and I think that that is that, and that's not rare. I think a lot of people should strive to be like that. I think parenting wise, it is. I think parenting wise, it kind of goes with the concept of like of less care. I think parents back in our day were more trying to be better role models.
Mm,
Yeah.
you think so? I think we was just getting whooped.
Wow.
Oh, that too.
And they were like,
Well,
well, this
that
is how our
too.
parents raised us, so this is what I'm going to do to you.
Well, when
Instead
I
of
say
like
that,
our generation when we're trying to change things.
when I say being a better role model, it might not be a better role model. I think they were better at trying to hide or not let certain things happen in front of us.
Right.
Like they were,
To an extent, I could say it.
I think their generation was more of the we're gonna have this fucked up conversation when the kids are asleep or behind closed doors or when like
Even
or
though they
in
can still
front.
hear it.
Yeah, they can
Right.
still.
Because you're
We
young.
were the generation that heard it from like the hall or downstairs or something
Get
like
that
that.
Now
cup. Go
kids
get
be in
that
the
red
living
solo
room with
cup.
you getting why your daddy getting kicked out the house.
And
So
that is the change. I think that this generation, the younger generation now, the generation they grew up with it happening right in front of their face.
mhm.
Like we were the ones that grew up with, where it was like, oh damn, that's really what's going on. Like, it's like you had the piece it together type of thing, like what you heard and stuff like that. I think,
Right.
just the level of decorum kind of dropped now. It's just like they be
It's
doing.
too many kids in grown folks' business for real. Because there's no reason that kid should even be like, oh yeah, she was cheating with this person. He was doing that. How do you know that? You're 7. So why are you even in this conversation? It's crazy.
And that
But you
and
gotta look
that
at
impacts your
you gotta look at
whole.
their parents too, because sometimes
It is the parents.
right, but some of these parents are super young too, right? So a lot of these parents had kids when they were kids, so the behavior is exactly the same. They treat the kids like they're their best friend, and they do everything in front of the kids. It's kind of outrageous to me
Yeah, I
to see
agree.
what I see online nowadays with their kids. So
And
I
also
do.
social media. Think about the social media parents who put all their business. Your kids can see that, bro.
mm-mm.
Like your
Yeah,
kids
Right.
can see all these TikToks you just made about hating your husband. So like,
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, I think one of the biggest things like was that the younger generation, I think, to the points that y'all just brought up, accountability is not as strong.
mm,
And I think, back to this, marriage requires accountability to a lot of points. And so if you ask, like, why, like, yeah, like why, why does would it look like, like these Gen Z kids, especially the males, like why would it struggle for them? I think it's because like marriage requires a certain level of accountability that they
they
either
never been.
that they've just never had to take on. Like,
Mm,
because you fuck up, it's on you. Like it's not, oh, who gonna fix this for me? Or, oh, what's gonna happen? Or, I don't care, or whatever. It's on you. And I think that's something that is just it's not something they're familiar with, really. I think
Right.
I think our generation was a lot more to the concept of having to be held accountable to your actions
mm,
and
Mm-hmm.
be not just accountable to your actions, but also accountable to how your actions impacted others.
consequences.
Consequences, yeah. And I don't think that, this younger generation has as much that drive to, I mean, that's been driven in them as much. And so I think,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to, I mean, and not just me, when it comes to anything like, any sort of serious sort of committal type of thing, whether it's, friendships, marriage, jobs, anything, like that's why they struggle so much at it because it's just they're not used to being held feet to the fire on stuff.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
if I wanted to quit something, I could. If I didn't want to do something, I didn't have to. If I wanted to say some out of pocket shit, I could. There was no consequence to it. And that's just how they were or
That's why
how
the
they
world's
are.
bad now.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mhm.
is. And if and there was never any consequence to my actions because like my parents may have always been like, oh, like if a teacher was like, hey, your child is acting up in class, or my kid, that's not my child, that's y'all, like y'all can't teach right or something like. I think that whole
Parents
shift.
don't have the accountability.
I think and
Mm-hmm.
went to the back to the point y'all was saying. If you watch your parents not taking accountability, that even adds on to it. And I know I'm damn sure I never watched them do it.
Right.
And like when you come to marriage, that's all that it is. It's just y'all two. Like it's just literally, it's either, like not to make it sound black or white, but if there's a problem that comes up, it's either your fault, her fault, or both of y'all fault. Like it's somewhere in the middle of that. And so like you have to fix that in one way or the other. It requires,
Mm-hmm.
like but I think that I also don't think that they have a lot of conflict resolution skills.
Oh,
But
none. And I
but
think
that
the
goes back to
pandemic also
accountability.
really affected that
Yeah,
because they stopped socializing. Everybody was at home, and for a lot of those Gen Zers, they were young.
they were. Yeah, COVID did definitely.
And Gen Alpha, that's where we are now.
Yeah, the COVID did
Lord.
definitely change that for the worse, I think.
Yeah.
And so, like, I guess to conclude in a sense, like, marriage is a union of two people, and we know that. Like, and it's an everyday commitment. I think that's the point we were just talking about. I think that's if there was one thing I felt like a lot of people don't, especially the younger generation coming up, might not be as aware of, in a sense of like what marriage requires, that is literally every day. Like I
Mm.
know my cousin was saying like it's almost like a reset. Like you could have a good day today, a bad day tomorrow. Like, it's every day.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just that commitment to it to keep
You
it
will have
going.
your good and bad days with this person.
Yeah, man. And you want to, make sure that you're with somebody that, when you hit a bad day, you're both committed to, making it a good one. Like I think that's the best thing that you can do. Somebody that y'all can share good days with and be committed to making bad days good, or be committed to not letting bad days linger.
I
Like,
also think it's important to take a break if you need one. Like we've been in each other's
Yeah.
face too long. Please.
Right. There's
Like
there's more
I need to go
room in
think.
the house. Go to the other room.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's one thing a lot of people, I think that's one thing that a lot of couples, and weirdly enough, younger couples don't seem to understand is that y'all can have space from each other. It
Hmm.
actually is good for you to have, the ability to have space from each other, the ability for you to have different likes or dislikes or hobbies, or just time.
Sometimes
Like
I like when he be in there playing that game and I can just be in here watching TikTok. Great time.
Mhm.
I'm
Like,
having a blast.
you don't have to be in each other's face 24/7 because nobody wants to be in somebody's face 24/7. Like nobody. Like it don't matter how much you like or love that person. Like,
Because then it's gonna be why you smile like that, why you look like that, did you fart like or don't talk to me.
yeah. I mean, because to your point, yeah, at a certain point, every little small thing will get you. It's like every little small thing will just irritate you. Like, oh my God, like you got to chew with your mouth open. Shut the fuck up. Like,
Are you doing that?
and like, yeah, and like, I wouldn't, I would recommend marriage to people if they were serious about it. I wouldn't recommend it unless you were fully sure that that is what you wanted to do. And not just fully sure that's what you want to do, you were fully sure that was the person you wanted to be married to. I think some people make the concept that they fully sure they want to be married, but they're not fully sure that that was the person they wanted to be married to. And so I think that's the biggest thing. But like,
Mhm.
that's more based on your assessment. Because I think the other half of that is that people get married based on advice they got from others and not really married based upon their own feelings or assessment on it.
Yeah. And honestly,
Um,
sometimes it is kind of a status thing.
yeah,
People just want to be, I'm Mrs., I'm Mr., whatever.
yeah,
It's not.
sometimes they feel like that'll change, that might change, how things are going, or that might make them solidify, their status, or that might make somebody solidify their feelings for them, or whatever the case may be. And I think marriage almost is like money in the sense that they said like money doesn't make you different, it makes you more of what you already are. I don't think marriage makes people per se different.
Mm.
I think whatever you were doing before you got married. I don't think like if somebody was cheating on their spouse or their partner every day, them getting married, I don't think they're gonna wake up and be like, well, damn it, I'm married now.
They're absolutely not.
Nope.
Gotta cut that off. Gotta switch. Gotta flip that switch now. Like I don't think that would happen. Like what I'm saying, whatever they were doing before, they were gonna be doing after. It just
And
Right.
then if you
and
try to pretend and like try to put on a face or a facade something that's not true to you, eventually you're gonna break.
yeah,
And it's not gonna be good. So you might as well just be honest and true to who you are before you even decide if you really want to walk into marriage.
Right.
yeah, I agree
Being
that.
single is okay. Being single is okay.
I agree. That should have bubble. That should have bubble up. And it'll bubble up and it'll boil over one day. And when it, like you said, when it boil over, it ain't gonna be pretty. And so, like, yeah. And
Right.
no matter how ready you are for it, to the point that you said earlier, it is a learning experience. Like, and it's one that requires you to be adaptable and have an open mind. And I think that's the other thing, that I know, like when I tell people that I joke about all the time, and I'm like, it's a learning experience, but I really be dead serious about that. Like, you literally are learning,
Mhm.
like, all the time. Just small things. All right, that's when I need to do it. That's what I don't need to do. Oh, that's how we working today. That's how that, like, just It just is what it is. But if I had to close, I think what I would tell in closing, I think I would tell people that like a healthy and supportive marriage, I think, is one of the it's something that can bring the best out of people, I think. Um,
Hmm.
and an unhealthy, toxic marriage is something that can bring the worst out of people. And
Yeah.
that would be my my statement to anybody watching this in terms of that is just that if you are in a, I mean, and just relationships in general, if you're in a relationship or a marriage with somebody and you feel like you're fully supported, you feel like that they love you, you love them, you all have confidence and the ability to be candid with each other and all that good stuff that they talk about on Hallmark movies and stuff like that. Then yeah, they do be kind of doing a little bit much in the Hallmark movies, but
They be doing it. I'm not a ooey gooey girl, so
well, yeah, I get it. I mean, but yeah, if you have something that makes you feel comfortable, comfortable, confident, and loved in your marriage, it will bring a good side out of you.
yeah.
So that would be my message. My last question to y'all is in terms of this is if somebody if you wanted somebody to take one thing from this, what would it be?
Go ahead, Alexis. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Uh, um, I would say do some self-reflection before getting married. Because you should really know yourself before committing yourself to somebody else. You don't want to find yourself when you're married because it could cause a rift or a shift in your relationship. That's what I would say.
That's pretty good. That's pretty wise, as the old folks would say. That's pretty wise.
It's my church.
that,
Stuff
that,
going on here.
that's God speaking through you. That's God
That's
using
all
you
Through
right.
me. That's right.
using
I
you as
wish
his
I had my
vessel. I just
tambourine.
using you as his vessel.
Okay, we gotta stop.
Lex, what about you? If there's one thing you want somebody to take from this episode, what is
First of all,
it?
Brendan, that's my brother's name too. Um, I agree with what you said, but also it's kind of impossible just to tell the future. You don't know who you're going to be. I can tell you who I'm going to be next year. I don't know. But you need to make sure that you are committed to the relationship, that you know that you're willing to adapt and accept any changes in your partner. And I feel like you need to know that it's your life, most importantly. So whatever works for y'all, honestly. Some people live in separate houses. Like literally whatever works for your marriage, whatever makes both of you guys happy is all that really
Hmm.
matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, I
I
think
like that.
yeah, I think so too. I mean, to your point, yeah, some people separate beds, separate houses, some people separate states. Like, like it's just
Cheryl
separate
Lee Ralph and
countries.
her husband. Yeah.
Separate countries for some people, like it's just how, to your point, whatever works for y'all, I think works for y'all to not let, outside noise disrupt what works for y'all.
Can I add one more nugget of
Right.
information?
You can add as many nuggets as you like. What's up?
Okay, I also think it's important that when you're first dating to ask those middle of the night questions like, would you love me if I was a worm? Because I think those are really important and it really helps to get to know like, are you really love me for real? For like, if I'm a worm.
If you're a worm,
If
he
Question.
I'm
would
a
say,
worm, you really gonna love me? Like you gonna put me on your shoulder? We gonna be hanging out? Like you still gonna love me if I was a worm?
So the
Those
answer
things
you would be
are
looking for is yes. If somebody like, that's the middle of the
important.
night answer you look, yeah. Some like, would you love me if I
Yes.
was still a worm? Yes.
Yes. Would you love me if I didn't have any arms and legs? I need to know.
Yeah, I guess you're
You can
right,
ask
because you
these
could
questions
be,
before you get married, for real.
"Those what
you're right.
backpacks are for."
If I
So
am a
just
chicken
saying.
nugget with a head, are you still gonna love me? Are you gonna wheel me around?
It's funny. I laugh at that, but you are right because I mean, it is situations where what was it? It was one of them dudes, the Wounded Warriors or something like that.
Hmm.
He got hit by like a bomb and he was mad at the
Oh, I know what you're
speed.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Hmm.
him and his when he came back from the war, his wife like she pushed for them to get married. They got married and they got divorced like almost like a year later or something like that. And I guess to your point, that's one of them times where it's like, yeah, like this happened.
I would love him. I would.
Couldn't tell if she was being serious or not.
I am being serious.
She being serious, but
Okay.
she's thinking about. She's
I
just
would
like,
love
I
him
well,
if his
I
face
would love
know.
mattered.
him. Like, I would love him. I'm gonna have to. I would love him. I'm gonna have to
I
sack
love
up and
him.
do it, but I'm gonna love.
I mean, if we gotta, but I love you.
I understand. I understand, and that's that God speaking through you. I understand. That's good. That's good.
Mm, mm,
That's the
mm.
tambourine you're talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Got the cross out. Well, I appreciate y'all. That actually bring me to the end of the episode. I appreciate y'all for joining and for being the guest on the episode. Before I give the little ending spiel, I know I said, in terms of one last thing, is there any final words from y'all?
Nope.
Lex, you?
Bring me back on a spicier one.
I got you.
Right. Right.
I
You were
got
the
you.
one being churchy.
I
Because I
wasn't
could
being
have took
churchy.
there, but I did it on
My words might be churchy, but I'm not churchy.
I gotta bring
We
y'all
should have
back.
a marriage after dark edition. Let's,
That'll
let's
be
talk about
good. That'll be good.
I might have to write a script up for that one. I got you.
like the real nitty gritty stuff.
You don't have to write a script for that one. Just let it flow.
Just let it flow, huh?
You should just
Hmm.
bring in couples like a panel.
Mm.
I think I'm gonna do that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea for a future episode. Bring in different couples and just have different. You talk about things like like type of disagreements y'all have. Talk about sex. Talk about all sort of stuff. Yeah, be a hell of an episode.
That'd be fun.
All right. Gave me an idea, Alexis. You gave me an idea.
Yeah, just tell your parents don't watch that one.
That's one I can't. That's one. Yeah, I'm about to say just tell them not to watch that one. Tell the older folk gotta keep that one off.
Yeah.
Gotta make
Right.
sure whatever segment I stitch for social media, I gotta make sure that's the cleaner part of that episode.
Yeah, just give a disclaimer at the beginning. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely y'all gonna be the first ones I tell about that. I got you.
All right. All right. Perfect.
I appreciate y'all for joining. For everybody, this has been another episode of Maybe I'm Just Not Getting It. Again, follow me on social media, like and subscribe to the podcast. Like I was saying, I always get this wrong. Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and YouTube. Until next time, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. See y'all later.